Hey everyone, just going to do a quick recap of off flavors for anyone who may have missed the session we had a few weeks ago, or if you're going to miss our future sessions. The two flavors we went over a few weeks ago were Diacetyl and Oxidation. It's hard to recreate the off flavors when you aren't able to make it to the sensory classes, but there are always ways to try and do it at home. Usually you can use some quick ingredients you can find in your kitchen. So we'll go over those two real quick as a quick refresh and see if there's anything in your house you can find to help you kind of recreate those flavors to help familiarize your palate with those. The first one, Oxidation, usually comes across as, the first flavors that come to people's mind are stale, papery, wet cardboard. A lot of people mention that the aromatics can sometimes be a bit like dairy, but kind of like the softer dairies like yogurt or like a kefir. So again, you can get yogurt or kefir at your house. You can always try noshing on some cardboard. It's really gross, but it is very similar to what oxidation tastes like. And the oxidation comes from essentially the beer coming into too much contact with oxygen post active fermentation. So this is something that occurs during packaging processes, whether it be on draft or whether it be in can. Can and bottling does have higher risk of oxidation. So it is something you want to look at. Also, beer has a natural oxidation rate, even if you had a perfect process, but that beer sat on a warm shelf for 6 months. Most beers like that are going to have a presence of oxidation. So again, another good way to try and test this is maybe go to places that store their beer warm. Not to call out too many stores, but like Total Wine, Trader Joe's, even Costco sometimes, and see if you can find the oldest beer possible on those warm shelves. Taste that beer, and you're gonna get hints of that oxidation, that papery, stale, cardboard flavor. The next flavor we went over was Diacetyl. Diacetyl is a natural product that the yeast produces during fermentation. But usually during a natural process of fermentation, after the yeast, to kind of put it simply, after the yeast eats up all the good stuff and starts the fermentation process and turning things into the alcohols, once it starts running out of those high chain sugars and aminos, it'll start eating up the diacetyl as well, which is one of its byproducts. So if you let a beer ferment long enough and give it enough time, or give it a diacetyl rest, which is the process of raising the temperature to kind of reactivate that yeast to get it going again, it'll eat up that diacetyl and you won't have that presence in the beer. People usually have a pretty low threshold for tasting diacetyl, mostly because it can come as both a flavor and a mouthfeel. The flavor is buttered popcorn. More accurately, a lot of times people will taste like the buttered popcorn flavored Jelly Bellies, which again, you can go to the store, get some of those every flavor beans, jelly beans, and get some buttered popcorn ones, and those ones taste just like diacetyl. And again, diacetyl is present naturally during fermentation, so some styles, a little bit of diacetyl is okay. That's kind of like a part of the style characteristic. But usually in our lagers, we like to try and limit the amount of diacetyl quite a lot. So diacetyl can also come across as a mouthfeel. A lot of people will sometimes complain that the beer will taste kind of slippery or feel slippery in their mouth, or smooth or slick. That is another component of diacetyl in the beer. So we tasted those two. I highly recommend doing some at-home tasting, again with some Jelly Bellies or cardboard, whatever you can find. And then we are going to be tasting two more this week on Tuesday. I'm not going to tell you what they are because I want to give everyone kind of a clean slate for trying these, but we'll go over those in the next video. All right, cheers guys.